My name is Chuck Adams, and welcome to Coffee and Conversation. I'm really excited about today's episode where we're going to be discussing having passion about what you do and really being driven to serve others. I'm sure that a lot of you are probably like me in the fact that you know people who are really driven both personally and professionally. You interact and see people who are really passionate about what they do and passionate about helping and serving others. And these people just almost absolutely every time love what they do. So how does the saying go? If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. I believe that that's a feeling that most people strive for, being really driven, wanting to help others, and loving what you do. I mean, being truly passionate in a way that inspires others. So joining me today to talk about this topic is Lori Esarey, CEO of Total Nutrition and Therapeutics, which is a leading wellness clinic whose mission is to help their clients reach their optimal state of health by focusing on a food-first nutritional approach. Lori, welcome to Coffee and Conversation.
Thank you. So happy to be here with you today. Thanks for inviting me. It's an awesome topic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, you know, in the discussions we've had, you fit that description I said above about being passionate about serving others and loving what you do to a T. So why don't you start off by telling us really a little about your story and the path that kind of brought you to Total Nutrition and Therapeutics?
I would love to do that. So Total Nutrition and Therapeutics was a concept that I actually didn't come up with myself. It kind of came to me. A group of girls were just sitting around thinking about things that we hadn't necessarily been accomplishing in our lives. One of my friends came to me and said, you know, I really am looking to do something different. We started roundtable conversationing just what we could do, and we came up with TNT, Total Nutrition and Therapeutics. Now, it's evolved, absolutely, but it really comes from a background of passion and desire to help others, like you said, look better, feel better, and really function their best, taking a food-first approach. So we have a functional medicine clinic that really looks for root cause of why people are feeling bad. And what's made me so passionate about it is my own story. And I was diagnosed with diabetes at 25, and I was already a nurse. I'm currently a nurse practitioner. And I have a master's degree in nutritional medicine, and I have a master's degree in family practice. And I was already a nurse when I was diagnosed at 25. I won't age myself, but fast forward to now, it's been quite a few years. But I had to take a hard look in the mirror at 25 and kind of go, what's going on? Like, why do I have diabetes? A marathon runner. I was very, very active. Now, granted, I do have an Italian family, large Italian family. I think a lot of people can relate there. Love our pasta, love our dessert, and my mom absolutely loves by loving on others by making them awesome food. And she also worked in a bakery, so I just think that was a double whammy too, growing up. So, I mean, my entire family had diabetes. So at 25, when it happened to me, that hard look in the mirror was not only what's going on with me, but am I going to end up being like my family members who were on insulin, who were losing limbs, who were having amputations, who were having to check their blood sugars all the time. And I couldn't understand how I landed there because I was so active and I had been pursuing weight loss. And I had exhausted after that a lot of money on a lot of things like Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig that worked in the short term, but they didn't work in the long term. And I never really resolved my issue until I discovered the fact that it had to do more with how I was feeding myself and that the power did come from within. So it didn't come from any pill or potion. It came from going back to school and really digging into the books and learning that our food can be medicine or it can be poison. And so that was just one of the reasons that really created passion, my initial passion. And so many things have happened and transpired since that initial time, to be honest. I mean, you know, after I got my feet wet with understanding that I could change the way I felt and my blood sugar, I became a mom, and my daughter, who in fourth grade, she went from an A student to an F student in a very short time frame. And as a parent, I was crushed. Like, what do you do? What's going on? I mean, my child's very intelligent. What's going on? She was being faced with FCAT. She was getting extremely anxious. She was having a lot of physical manifestations that were going on. And I was actually pulled into the principal's office as an adult. That was kind of scary. Going into the Christmas season, it was December, and the principal basically sat me down along with the advisor and just said, I really don't know what's going on, but we would like to consider on this break that your daughter might have ADD or ADHD, and I think she should be actually seen by a doctor and placed on medications. And I left the office that day, and I could spend an entire hour talking about that, how I was just infuriated how it was an assumption that was made that my child had ADD, and she was quite able to sit still, but she was unable to really retain information, and there's a big difference. And so over the holiday of Christmas, I investigated, and actually, long story made super short, she had auditory processing disorder, and she had had multiple antibiotics as a child, younger, and due to ear infections. So she had hearing problems that no one had diagnosed. She also couldn't see the big E. She had visual problems that she was covering up really well. She didn't know any different, that she couldn't see. So her senses were unfortunately not good, and you need your sight, you need your hearing in order to process information and learn. And so I was able to put together a eating plan, because she also had some things going on with food intolerances and food issues. I pulled sugar out of her diet, and I was able to place a plan together, and along with speech therapy, she actually graduated a couple of years magna cum laude from college, and she's doing great. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. And it's obvious that you've got a real emotional connection and why to what you do at Total Nutrition and Therapeutics. I'm curious how you try and take that that passion that you've got and get that to I guess permeate throughout the practice with all of your team members. How does that work?
So that's not always easy, but we talk about, as business owners, creating a culture that really is contagious, right? Contagious for passion. And I think one of the things I was thinking about this morning is how do you do that? Obviously, that culture starts from the top all the way down, and it's an everyday thing that you have to be mindful about. It's not something that you can place in your back pocket and get to it when you can. It has to be at the forefront every single day. And so one of the things I do each day, just in my own personal life, is I have a wellness plan. And each day I get up and I feed into myself, meaning I read, I meditate, I ground, I do things like yoga. I would like to do that more often. Obviously, we only have so much time to budget, and I'm certainly not perfect. But I pray, and I really spend a lot of time making sure that I'm cultivating in myself and feeding my inner soul with things that are positive, so that I can share that with those people around me. Then, obviously, it's really important for all of us to connect in a communicative way with our team. And so once a week, we get the pleasure of spending a good solid hour and a half together in team meetings, and we open each week in prayer, in meditation, in sharing with one another, and being real with one another, so that we can share our difficult times, but also our inspirational moments too. It's like family. So we start that way. So it starts individually. It is, I would say, watered and I would say nurtured, if that's the word, in those team meetings. And then it's constantly being mindful of it, I would say. Now, to patients, that's a different story, because, of course, if we're good, right, if we're good, if we are making sure that we are being mindful about creating wellness, not in just our what we feed our bodies, but mindfulness in the energy that we put off. And it all starts with love, right? Is
Hmm.
in giving love. They sense that. They sense that. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's a little hard because they're not well. They don't feel good. And, you know,
Mhm.
we're the first person that it's easy for them to lash out at, but we share that with them.
Yeah, no, that's that's awesome, and you're right. I think culture, when you're doing it right, is something that you can feel, not just internally in your organization, but your clients and your patients should be able to feel that culture as well. I'm along those lines. I've heard you talk about the concept of the heart behind the brand. Tell us tell us what that means.
So one day I was just getting ready and I, I don't know how it came to be, but I was just really reflecting on um, what do I want to exude, you know? And I was kind of thinking, like, how does that come across? And the heart behind the brand really came up in just that thought provoking moment of what is behind all this? Like, how do you get up every day? And really, I mean, some days, I'll be honest, it's exhausting to change behavior. It's exhausting. And if I was doing
Hmm.
it for the financial reward, I would have been done with it a long time ago, honestly. Honestly. So I was having one of those days. I'm just being transparent, right? Just
Hmm.
having one of those days. And I'm like, so what is it that gets you up every day, Lori, to do this? Like, what is it? And that's what came to mind, the heart behind the brand. It's the heart. There's passion. There's a desire to see, like, sometimes I get emotional about it because there's such a drive. And when you see people's lives radically changed, when you see relationships healed, when you see kids thriving, when you see that and you're a part of that, it's just a really cool story. I mean, I've shared with you, like my dad, about 6 years ago, we were coming home from a bucket list trip that I wasn't even supposed to go on at all. He was going and I was starting my business. Well, I'm not really starting my business, but it was really just kind of getting, it was revving up. It was one of those times where I didn't really have time to leave. I didn't think I had time to leave. And my dad was actually diagnosed. He had been diagnosed with prostate cancer before and kidney. His kidney cancer had metastasized to his lung. And we were beginning to think that he had metastasis to his pleural cavity, which is the space between the lung and the chest cavity, which was causing him to have a lot of shortness of breath. He was building up a lot of fluid and he was having to be drained almost every week. And they were planning this trip, and he went to his doctor, and his doctor said, who happened to be a dear friend of mine who I used to work with, he engaged me in that conversation. Like he said, you know, Lowell, you need to go to hospice when you get back, but I want you to go on the trip. If anything happens on the trip, it's your bucket list trip. Are you good with that? Absolutely, he was good with that. So I changed my plans at the last minute. I had to go. I had to be with my daddy. I'm the only
Good.
girl. I have two older brothers, amazing family. Love my daddy. Like I say, I'm the only girl, but daddy's little girl. Can still be that, right? I'm almost 50. So on the trip back, he says to me, Lori, he goes, do you think I can change this? He literally had a prescription, like I said, to go to hospice house. He was terminal. You can only tap a lung so many times before you'll drop a lung. It was just a matter of what was going to happen. Can you change this? And I said, Dad, I can. I said, but I have a lot of tools and resources that I think if you're willing to do this, if you're willing to make the changes, I think this could work. But you got to do the work. I can't do it. I want to do it. I want to do it for you. I want to take away your pain. I would rather own this myself, but I can't. And you know what? 6 years ago, now we're sitting in, now this time period that we're sitting in right now, years later, I got my daddy and I got
Wow.
him. PET scans are negative. He's thriving. Now he's going to be 82 this year.
Hmm.
82, that's okay. Like he's aging, he's declining, but he's living. And like his oncologist said, he's probably not going to die from cancer. He's going to
Wow.
die from something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the power of nutrition, and that's that heart behind the brand. When you see stories like that, and it's not just my own family, these clients become my family. They become TNT's family. We take them in. When you see lives change radically, like how can you not be passionate about what you do? So that's the heart behind the brand that gets me up every day, motivated to do what I do. And not that I don't get tireless, because I do get tired. But you know, when you have that, you get up the next day and you battle through it because you get that in return. So that's what I like to say about it.
Well, Lori, that is a fantastic story. Certainly inspiring to me. Let me ask you this as we get ready to kind of close up. If someone wants to reach out to you, I mean, because you're a great speaker, or someone just wants to connect, what's the best way they should go about that?
I love the opportunity to engage and talk to others. And the best way to reach out to me is actually through our website or through our email address. It's info@tntfit4life.com. So info@tntfit4life.com. You can always call us at 352-259-5190. You can go on our website, hit the contact us icon, and that goes straight to us as well. But any questions, any opportunity to connect, I talk to organizations, I talk to large groups. I personally went through and walked through cancer this last year. And having done that, I've been talking a lot more to cancer groups. But I have experienced many and walked through many things, from mold, biotoxins, cancer, all kinds of things, celiac, Crohn's disease. But if you're looking to connect, call me or email me. I would love to talk to you.
Awesome. Well, Lori, this has been great. Again, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to join us on Coffee and Conversation, and I look forward to connecting again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me today. Cheers.